Alright, so in this lesson I'm going to dig a little deeper in the graph editor and specifically the value graph. I've made this chart for you to show you the different spacing you can get by changing the value graph. So what are the types of graphs that we have and how we can access them? Okay, so now we have this shape layer and we have an X position animation applied on it. Alright, and these lines between them are the echo effect that we have in order to show the frames between these two keyframes. Okay, so in this small tool here, this is the graph editor. You can select it. And over here we have choose graph type and options. Select it, and we have this edit value graph and edit speed graph. For now, I will select the edit value graph since we will be working on it. Alright. So I select my keyframes, and this is the line that we have. Since it's a linear animation, we have this straight line. Okay, just a quick note. Make sure that your position is separated. So you have X position and Y position. By right click, separate dimensions. Now they are already separated. Alright, so in the value graph, you can use this slider to zoom in and out, or you can use the minus and plus button. Alright, and this small window over here can fit your graph to view. Alright. Okay, so in the value graph, this is the value and this is the time. And as you move forward in time, the value increases. Okay, so now let me apply easy ease to these two keyframes. Press F9. Alright. As you can see now, since I applied the easy ease, now we have an ease in the beginning of the animation and ease at the end of the animation. So the frames are closer to each other. Okay, now we want to develop the ability to look at the animation curve and figure out what is happening. So the animation curve shows you the change in value over time. So the steeper the curve is, the faster the object is gonna move. So let's say if I select this Bezier handle and I move it like this. What I'm doing here is I'm making the curve flatter at the beginning. But over time, if you move forward, the value is increasing. So the motion is beginning really slow and it's gonna speed up when the curve is steeper. So the key things to remember here are the following. Steeper equal faster, and flatter equal slower. So if I take this Bezier handle and make it like this, now I'm making the curve steeper. So what is happening here is the frames are away from each other, which will make the animation really fast at the beginning. And at the end, the frames are really close to each other, which will make the animation really slow. As you are playing around with this curve, see what's happening here in the spacing between the frames, and you will start to make sense of all these. It just needs practice and focus to absorb it. Alright, so now I'm gonna apply some little animation to show you how can I utilize the value graph to make the animation more smoother. Okay, so let's say I have this plate over here and I have this cup of coffee. Just ignore the shapes and the colors. Alright, so I will select the plate layer. It's a composition and I have all my shapes inside it. Alright, so I have my anchor point in the middle. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press P on keyboard. I'm gonna separate my dimensions so I have more control over the X and the Y position. Okay, so let's select these keyframes, create keyframes, move it around like 24 frames. let's say. And let's drag this to the beginning and put the plate outside of the frame. So now, as if it's entering the frame. All right, I think 24 frames is a good timing. It's like 1 second to arrive. All right, so now let's apply some rotation. Press R on keyboard, select keyframe. Okay, you can press U to reveal all the keys that we have on this layer. Okay, let's rotate it, maybe, I don't know, like this. All right, that works for me. All right, now let's apply some scaling to this cup, so when the plate arrives, the cup of coffee is gonna pop up. So let's press S, select first the layer, press S, create a keyframe, move it like this, maybe, I don't know, bunch of frames, 10, 15 frames, and zero out. All right. Okay, so as you can see now, my animation is super basic. I just have the keyframes. It's a linear movement. I don't have any easing over them. So first, let me select all the keyframes that I have for the plate and press F9 for easy ease. Okay, now the animation looks better. But now, since I'm familiar with the value graph, I can have more control over the spacing of the animation. So let's say I want the plate to arrive more smoothly. Okay, so I can select my positions, go over to the graph editor. Okay, now so the red line is my X position and the green line is my Y position. So I can select my keyframes, select these Bezier handles and move them like this. So as you can remember, the flatter the curve, the slower the animation. So I can make it like this. So now watch what is gonna happen. Okay, now let me apply the same thing for the rotation. Go to the graph editor, select this keyframe and move it like this. I'm making the curve flatter. See the difference? It arrives really slow. It's taking the time to stop. Now I can extend the timing a little bit to be more obvious for you. Yes. All right. Now let's see for the scaling of the cup. Let's apply easy ease. Okay, the scaling for the cup is good, but let's apply the same thing as we did for the plate. Let's go to the graph editor, select this keyframe and move the Bezier handle like this. The flatter the curve, the slower the animation. Okay, maybe we can extend the timing a little to make it more obvious. See? All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you a new way of animating shapes and how you can use the value graph to control the spacing of your animation. So I'm gonna create a new wavy path using the pen tool over here, or you can press G on keyboard, and I'm gonna use the pen tool. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to this play button and I'm gonna add the trim path. Okay, I'm gonna use the end and the start to make a short shape like this. Okay, and after that I'm gonna use the offset to animate the shape along this path. Move it out of the frame. Select this clock icon, and I'm gonna move it like, let's say 2 seconds. And move it all the way. All right. Okay, so now I got this animation. All right, so let's select all the keyframes and press F9 for easy ease. Okay, so as you can see now, this is my animation. Nothing much is happening. This shape is moving along this path. What I'm gonna do now is, since it's a wave, this shape has to speed in some specific areas, and it should slow down in some areas. So now I'm gonna add keyframes on where the shape should slow down and where it should speed up. Okay, so first it's gonna start here. It's gonna be a bit slow over here, and over here it's gonna take up the speed. So I'm gonna create a new keyframe, and over here it's going to slow down again, new keyframe, and at the tip here it's gonna speed up again, and over here it's gonna slow down. All right, so now I will go to the graph editor, select the offset, and here are my keyframes. Okay, so now I'm going to play around with this Bezier handles, but before I start, select all the keyframes in the middle and go over here and select Convert Selected Keyframes to Auto Bezier. This tool lock the Bezier handle together. All right, okay, so here the animation should be slow since it's moving upward. So I'm gonna make this Bezier handle like this. So I'm gonna make the curve flatter. So flatter equals slower. And here it's gonna take up the speed again at this keyframe. So I'm gonna make, let me zoom in. All right. So here it's gonna take up the speed again. So I'm gonna make it steeper, like this. And here it's gonna slow down again, so I'm gonna make the curve flatter. Okay, here make sure not to have a straight flat line, since you don't want the animation to stop, so you just make it like this. All right. And over here it's gonna take up the speed again, so I'm gonna make the curve steeper. And here it's gonna slow down again. So let's see what we have now. All right. Okay, so it's moving slow over here, and then it speeds up again, and here it slows down, and here it speeds up again, and here it slows down. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so just one more thing before I finish this lesson. You can go over here and check this Show Transform box. When it's active, you can select all your keyframes. Sorry. Okay, and you have this box highlighted over your keyframes. So what you can do with this box is you can change your timing if you want for the whole animation. Let's say you think that the whole animation of this shape is really slow or fast. So to make it slow, you can drag this over here. And now the whole animation is slow. And you can make it faster as well by dragging it like this.